Mallory Staples is here, and I am going to read her bio. You have a second if you want to eat another bite or two. Okay? Mallory is a native Georgian who stepped into politics after a career as a mom, Christian ministry worker, small business owner, and teacher. She is a true Georgia peach and was born and raised in Stone Mountain. Attended Redan High School and the University of Georgia. She has fought for the freedoms you love and hold dear by being the Georgia director of the State Freedom Caucus Network. Her organization keeps tabs on what lawmakers are voting on under the dome and then brings the information to you, the voters and taxpayers. You don't have to get up. I extended it. Mallory fearlessly fights radical ideologies like defunding the police and open borders. She, like many other Georgians, has had enough. Mallory believes that now is the time for Americans to stand up for our country, stop apologizing for our beliefs, and protect our way of life. She fights for the American dream for future generations. She believes in the values of freedom, hard work, personal responsibility, and having faith in God. The Freedom Caucus Network advocates for smaller government, less regulation, lower taxes, and protecting personal liberties. Please allow me to introduce our friend, Mallory Staples.
In my defense, I sent 3 sentences because I felt like that was really long, but thank you for that. So happy to be here tonight. Thrilled for the cause, for what we're all doing. Didn't want to miss it, but I will say the highlight for me, I probably would have driven all this way just to see my good friend Bill Quinn looking so fabulous and tanny. Very thankful for his life, as I think all of you are, so that's a big point of gratitude right now. So yeah, the Freedom Caucus, I think most of you guys kind of get us, like know who we are. But for those of you that don't, we are like a legislative watchdog. We're across the country in lots of states. I think we're about 14 now. Sadly, not all of them, but maybe one day. And really what we do is we take the most conservative legislators at the state level and we support them. So we have a legislative director who reads the bills up first thing in the morning during session. So we're obviously super concentrated during session. And the state legislatures meet for a portion of the year, unlike the federal level representatives. Well, actually, they really don't work either. But anyway, I digress. So we're January, February, March here in Georgia. So we hit it pretty hard during that time. And Blake Bassham is our legislative director, and he gets up early. He actually services the entire network. So he reads bills for the entire country because he is so good at that. But most folks, and for those of you, this is a room full of like doers. You guys know that you're kind of exceptional. Most of the citizenry does not know the bills that are being tossed around, discussed, and voted on. Most of the citizenry doesn't know who their elected officials are, actually. So we're just at a place in our country where we have been kind of fat and happy. Rather than being a government that's led and driven and controlled by the people, the government is like a Leviathan. It's just massive, and they don't really care what the people think or what they want to do. So we're in this tension right now of, I feel like, having a really rare moment where we can take it back, or we can lose the whole bag. And so this type of evening, the type of lives that you guys live, we obviously have folks in this room that are getting it done and stepping forward. And like I just told Tamara, you're a warrior. You know, Alex, you, Catherine, I mean, just laying it out there. But we need to multiply. Like we need to like follow the discipleship model, and there needs to be tons and tons and tons more of us. And so I feel like knowledge is power, as they say. So for us to do what we do, to shine light on these bills that will govern your life, will tell you what you can and can't do, will or will not allow you to have the funds to go invest if you should want to with David, whether the government takes that money or not. Like these bills decide that, how much of your earnings you get to keep, how free your children are, what are your parental rights? Do you get to own a gun? Where can you have it? Do you get a tax credit for it? Does it go in a lockbox? Can you rename things without going to jail? You know, just basic stuff. And so our job, we're really here to serve the citizens. So we see, hey, what's going on? What bills are going to make it? What bills shouldn't make it? How are things moving through committee? Because if you want to kill a bill, committee is where you do it. That's where you do it. Once it hits the floor, because of the power of the executive branch, because the governor has in-house lobbyists in both chambers called his floor leaders, and the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate, who's Lieutenant Governor, wield so much power. Once a bill gets to the floor, it's really kind of already decided how that's going to go. All those votes have been whipped. People have been pressured. Lobbyists have made contributions. Quite honestly, they've written most of the bills, and it's a done deal. But in the committee portion of the process, it's a smaller team that's deciding those things. So if you can reach them at that point, the people have more power. And considering where we are in the scheme of things, we need to get involved where we have the most power. And so we're here to educate, because everybody's busy. People have families, jobs, hobbies, you know, just church and all these things. You don't have time to do what we do, which is read everything and see what's coming down the pipe and how does that affect your life and your children and your money and your freedoms. So I feel like there's nothing else like the Freedom Caucus. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know anybody else who does what we do. Period. But certainly it's a plus, the reason for which we do it, which is to protect freedoms. And as you read off, if a bill, it's very simple what we do. It's not even complicated. And it used to be, interestingly, the platform for the Republican Party back in the day. A very dear friend of mine, Melvin Everson, who's fighting for his life right now, told me that back when he served in the House, this was the metric by which they measured all the bills as Republicans as a group. And there was no consternation about it. This was just what they all did. If a bill grew the size of government, which again, it's a Leviathan, not one more inch. They shouldn't get one more inch, not one more employee, not one more committee, not one more dime. If it raises your taxes, you're already taxed to the point, if you stopped and thought about it and really analyzed it, taxed to death. Every time you touch your money, you're taxed. Increased regulation. Why do we ask permission for everything? Why do you have to pay for everything again? Or infringes on your freedoms? We're a no. And actually, some of our positions, we're like, we don't care. Like if there's a bill that doesn't have anything to do with that, we don't care. We don't even take a position on it. We're like, whatever. But that used to be the Republican Party, jointly, without any, arguing. But we all know that both the parties are so jacked up and totally different from what they were originally intended to be. So that's who we are. And I know I'm part of the brand, but I just think we're fabulous. I think it's so great because once people understand, and if you can get it to them in a way that is concise and direct, they will do something because people do care about their children. They do care about what they're learning in school. They do care if their tax dollars are paying for abortions or transgender surgeries or what have you. People do care. And so if we can educate them, then they'll show up and they'll fight with us, right? So that's who we are. And I was going to, read at you what we did last year, but I don't want to do that because it's in my newsletter and you can just read that for yourself. But I do want to talk about what we've got on the horizon for this year, because we'll need everybody. We'll need every single person to help get this stuff done. So we've been kind of spitballing. So none of this is like, thus saith. We don't have it it hasn't gone through Ledge Council yet. But this is what we just would like to see happen in a perfect world, which we don't live in, but you have to have goals. You have to have goals. You have to swing for the fence. So one of the bills, and are y'all okay with this? This is what they wanted me to do. Do y'all want to hear this? I don't want to bore y'all out of your mind. Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. All right, great. So, and I, shudder to speak of election integrity in present company, but we do have a somewhat of an omnibus bill that we're putting together, and there's some things that we feel strongly we'd like to see happen, and we might have a shot at doing. So we have an election integrity bill that would require poll workers to hand count all ballots on election day to confirm the total ballot number prior to reporting it to the Secretary of State, and require them to report any discrepancies. It's a little bit nutso that does not happen already, but that's where we are. So that's part of the bill. This bill would also mandate that local election officials and county boards conduct to use legal language, like reasonable inquiry into the completeness or accuracy of these results before certification, having the authority to delay that certification for further investigation. It would allow election board members to examine all election-related documents prior to certification. Would require anyone dropping off a ballot for someone else to present an ID, a signature, and proof of relationship defined by the state elections board with that person. It would eliminate ballot boxes, period. Require the publishing of daily totals for votes cast with absentee and early voting differentiated. This bill would make it so designated areas for poll watchers include places where tabulation processes are taking place, including but not limited to provisional ballot, adjudication of ballots, closing of advanced voting equipment, verification and processing of mail-in ballots, and other similar processes. And it would make it so under Georgia law, a political party may choose not to associate with someone and therefore is under no legal obligation to qualify a candidate. So that's our election integrity. We have a Maga bill. Bars fluoride from our water in Georgia. I mean, duh. Yes. Such a no-brainer. Repeals SB 144, which was passed in 2025, that created a liability shield. No. They don't get to hide. Repeal all laws that regulate raw cow milk. What in the world? I mean, talk about over-regulation. Ban all vaccine mandates in Georgia. Yep. Make it illegal to discriminate against someone based on their vaccine status. Legalize over-the-counter ivermectin. Yay! Because we're all getting parasites from our food. My gosh, help us, please, Lord. And then permanently ban mask mandates in public schools. Just no more. Just stop the theatrics. So that's our Maga bill. And then we have a protecting children bill, which, I mean, our culture is so predatory to children that, to me, this just like, it is defining core values of humanity, this bill. It provides criminal penalties for any medical professional who provides sex reassignment surgery, hormone replacement therapy, or puberty blockers with a minimum of 10 years and a fine. There's a detransitioner bill of rights, and there's been model legislation for this in other states. The links here, I won't include that. Ensure that the law permits full medical record access by parents for everything pertaining to their minor child, including any school records, and that parents should have a right to everything. Yeah, that's, they're trying to make the government schools parents, replace the parents with the government, and we just can't have that. We have to have a zero tolerance policy for that. Define under law that it is child abuse to participate in or help provide access to sex reassignment surgery, hormone replacement therapy, or puberty blockers for children. Require transparency and oversight over all federal dollars going to public schools. Many federal programs, such as Medicaid funding for school-based health services, are bypassing the state with funding going directly to the school districts. And I don't know if y'all are aware, but I know in Fulton County, there are 3 healthcare clinics on school campuses. I think throughout the state, there's over 100. So it's very important because it can look like that's not getting funded with your tax dollars because the federal government's coming, circumventing the state funds when it shows up on paper. So we're not going to do that, which is obviously an open door. I mean, it may be Advil and Tylenol and Tums right now, but then it becomes vaccines or abortions or hormone, give the government an inch and they'll take a mile. So we just have to be a real solid roadblock from that, protect our little ones. Then strengthening parental rights modeled after HB 6, which is in Alabama, and we'll give out links for these. So just strengthening parents' rights there. Ban gender from being changed on any government documents in a manner that does not accurately reflect the biological sex that the person was born with. And then barring men from women's prisons. And Mississippi has some model legislation on that, which is great. What happens in these prisons where they let the men in is an absolute horror story. You can't even, it's just hard to know about, still sleep at night. Then we've got a Second Amendment bill. So that was our parental right bill, Second Amendment bill. Roy. Lower the age of a lawful weapon carrier from 21 to 18. Yay. Abolish all gun-free zones, allowing guns to be carried in, around, and in all areas pertaining to schools and other places currently banned. Allow teachers to carry weapons in classrooms. If they take a firearm safety training, they will receive $2,000 bonus contingent on them agreeing to carry their firearm in school. This bonus will occur every year they agree to carry their firearm in the school. And if you don't know the statistics on the schools where they have teachers that are allowed to carry them and not, it is jaw-dropping. It is a real deterrent. Get rid of any campus carrying restrictions, making it so someone can carry a gun on a USG campus under the same terms as any other public place, and allow the carrying of guns in all state buildings, such as the Capitol building. Open or concealed should be allowed for sure. Freedom Caucus members, we cannot carry our sidearms at the Capitol, which is just ridiculous. Anywhere else where we need to defend ourselves more. All right, and then reining in executive authority well. The governor, he's very, very powerful. And so a lot of things get flung out there in case of emergency. And we know they love to create emergencies so they can throw out all these things. And that has to be reined in and just a massive, massive way. Or it's kind of like that FEMA fear, where it's basically anything's on the table and if something's, considered an emergency. And so we gotta see what we can do about that here in Georgia with the governor. But any emergency executive order by the governor must be voted on by the state legislature to be expanded. Emergency orders must be temporary and require legislative approval to be renewed. There's a general bill for limiting emergency declarations and then requiring all new regulations be approved by the House and Senate committees on relevant jurisdiction, expiring at the end of regular legislative session if not approved. Must legally be voted on one at a time with members voting yay or nay properly, recorded and made publicly available so you can see if your rep is supporting what you want or not. And all regulations expire after 5 years and must be reenacted. So that's a huge, huge deal. And then we have a more sweeping, broader general restoring freedom bill. And it bans public surveillance of roadways, such as flock cameras. I don't know if any of y'all live in Woodstock, but Woodstock is the most surveilled city in the state of Georgia. And they're getting ready to roll this out to Milton. So they've got a lot of plans. And, you know, it's so funny. I had a debate with someone who will remain nameless about this in Woodstock. And they said, you know, well, it helps us, you know, catch criminals faster. Oh, it helps us catch criminals. I'm sorry. And I said, so you didn't catch criminals before you had the cameras? That's never happened, you know? I mean, it's just like common sense is literally like a superpower at this day and age. And they were like, well, it helps us do it faster. And I was like, well, I'm okay with it being a little bit slower and not having my freedom, not being surveilled by the government. I said, and what would happen if the, you know, federal administration said, hey, we need to just tap into your system here and use it to get, you know, Mr. Bad Guy or whatever. And they were like, well, that's never happened. I said, are you sure? I mean, can you like testify to that it's never happened? And they were like, no. And I was like, exactly. And like, we might have constitutional sheriffs, but what if the next one isn't? And when you've got this infrastructure already set up, it's so easy to abuse it. And we all know if you give the government an inch or a mile, you're never going to get it back. So that flock system is like terrifying. Ban the use of AI by government for the purpose of surveilling or collecting data on citizens. Freedom Caucus, we've had a fight on data collection for quite some time. Yeah, hearing Georgia. Make it so process servers don't need to get approved in each jurisdiction. Rather, if someone gets a license through the Secretary of State, they're eligible to work as a process server at any jurisdiction within the state. So there's a shortage of these people. And it slows down the legal process, but they're over-regulating it, and then it's just keeping the process slow. So that's probably sounds super boring, but it actually, for a lot of people, yeah, Alexa's like, yes, would dramatically change their lives. And it's just more unnecessary regulation, right? This bill would ban someone from being required or coerced from participating in an HOA, including if they own a house or want to not remain a part of the HOA, or if they're buying a house and do not want to join it. Under law, make it so people are automatically opted out of an HOA with the ability to willingly opt in. This person can be denied, can be denied access to services delivered from the HOA, such as neighborhood pools or other things. But you're not forced into that and forced to pay if you're not going to, you know, use the, yeah, again, regulation. And then make it legal to run over protesters blocking the road. The law should state that it is an exception to all murder and related laws that the person was engaging in protest that was undeniably intentionally blocking the road. I mean, that sounds kind of cuckoo, but like the amount of women that were in labor and people that were having heart attacks that are trying to get through, and these activists are in the road and just circumvent like other people's health and wellness is a little nutty. And we just hate all regulation if you can't tell. And then, I mean, the crowd favorite, cutting taxes bill. So we have presented a bill to reduce the income tax over the course of 6 years here in the state of Georgia by 1% every year, and join some of our neighboring states that do not have income tax. And we could not get one single person outside the Freedom Caucus even to be interested, this like one modicum of interest in this bill. And then the governor came out with his 0.1% reduction every year for 57 years. We would join our neighboring states, and we were just like, and everybody still clapped, like, oh my God, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard, 0.1%. And we were looking around like, are we being punked? Is this for real? Like that, I mean, who's paying taxes in 57 years? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I'm over 50. Like, this is ridiculous. That doesn't help me at all. And, you know, they're not really going to stay with it. So anyway, now that it's campaign season though, everybody wants to reduce the income tax here in the state of Georgia. So hey, you know what? We'll take it. So we are going to try and get that pushed through because there's absolutely no reason. And now everybody wants to get elected and stay in office and remain on their throne. So they are saying all kinds of things that they will do. It's funny, I was at a speaking event down in Middle Georgia just a couple of weeks ago, and a candidate was there who's running for lieutenant governor. who will remain nameless, who spoke right before me. And I asked to be seated right up in front because I said, I really want to be able to look him square in the eyes while he lies his face off, because I would like to make him as uncomfortable as humanly possible. And they allowed me to do that because they are not a fan of his and they're very much a fan of ours. And so I sat there and listened to him go on and on and on and talk about all the years that he had been in the Senate and how exceptional he was, because not only had he been in the Senate for all these years, but he was also a highly regarded member of the leadership team in the Republican Party there and had received so many honors. And then he told us all the things that he was going to do for us. And then before he sat down, he took a little jab at the Freedom Caucus, because like my picture was already up like on this mega screen behind him because I was the keynote speaker. And I got up and I just said, campaign season is just hilarious to me. And I said, I don't think you want to hear from seasoned members of seats like, I don't know, lieutenant governor, people who've been there for 11 years, and who've also been powerfully in those positions where they've been head of committees and then leadership and able to do all kinds of things. I don't think they should be telling you all the things they're going to do. I think the question is, why haven't you done them already? And that's what they did. And he was still in the room, and it was so fabulous because, literally what? 11 years, and you're telling everybody what you're going to do? I just think that's hysterical. If you wanted to, and I tell people this all the time, if they wanted to do any of the things they're telling you during campaign season they're going to do, they already would have done them. End of story. They already would have done them. So next, let's find somebody else who will actually do something. So that was really fun. But anyway, cutting taxes bill, here we go. Fully abolish the film tax credit. You should be offended to your core about the film tax credits in the state of Georgia. Not only, one, the film industry has helped corrode the moral fiber of the state of Georgia and turn us solidly purple, almost blue, but they've done it on your back as a taxpayer. Over $1 billion in tax credits. And I think it's don't quote me, but 95, 96% of them are transferable and they go out of the state. So they don't even help business in Georgia, but it entices these, types of businesses that come to Georgia. It is absolutely obscene. Never mind that we do tax credits, picking winners and losers. We don't do that as conservatives. So film tax credit is just an abomination and needs to be totally eliminated. We also want to make it illegal for the government to publish anything indicating that something was paid for by SPLOST. This is a loophole to them being barred from campaigning, and it has to be closed. Requiring the state budget to be voted on one department at a time. No more engrossment, where they just bundle all that offensive stealing of your money at literally gunpoint and don't even go over exactly what they're doing. The appropriations process is completely broken. The head of the appropriations committee is actually another candidate who's running for lieutenant governor in the Senate chamber, not in the House. But y'all, the money, again, roughly $36 billion budget. What? I said $1 billion, and proper roles of government are like public safety and roads and what? $36 billion. And then they went ahead and took in almost half of that over again, 50% over, roughly $13 billion in the surplus slushy budge. And they didn't return $1, not one. Just keep working. Just keep working. I'm do you know what I could do with that money? Right now, I just want to take my kids to a steak dinner at the house. That would be amazing. What is happening? And they're just, anyway, you should get your money back and you should be able to keep your money. So that's huge.
That's $1,300 per person.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be fun to have at Christmas? Yeah, thank you, Money Man. What is going on? What if you just wanted to, give that to the needy, do something to change the world, but instead you're giving it to the not needy, overlords who stand up and tell you how great they're doing with your money. And please reelect them again. Insert hysterical laughter at this point. It's no, thank you. Okay, so this is one that, again, is going to sound really kind of snoozy, but is a big deal. tax wire transfers to other countries at 1% in amounts in the excess of $500. And this was modeled in Oklahoma with a bill they had, and it was intended to tax immigrants who send money back to the country of origin and don't keep it here in the United States. So it's just this constant, outflow of cash. And then make it illegal for any public dollars within the state, including Medicaid, to go to abortion. No. You should not have to pay for that. Make it so any commissions, local governments, or any public entities that are not fully enforcing state and federal immigration laws, make them ineligible to receive state funds, period. And then, this one's just fun. It's our Gulf of America bill. And we want to draft legislation that says that all state documents, school curriculums, and anything getting state funds needs to be referred to the Gulf of America as the Gulf of America. So, yay! So there's a couple more things, but I don't want y'all to go to sleep and be like, she's the worst speaker who's ever been to anything ever. So we're working hard for you is the bottom line. And as you can see, we don't have a specialty. We cover everything. So we're watching all the bills, whether it's medical freedom, 2A, elections, whatever. We're here. We're keeping an eye on the whole situation. And I would appreciate it. I mean, shameless plug, Ron, but if you would get my newsletter during session and just see what we need, hey, the Senate Appropriations Committee or the House Appropriations Committee, or I'm sure John Burns, the speaker, will be doing all kinds of hideous things. We need you to call his office. We need you to do this or that. We would so appreciate it, because that's how we can develop that discipleship model where we make, if every one of us made 20 more, we could save the state. But we are currently on a trajectory, just so you know, the sense of urgency, all the think tanks out of Washington that watch the districting and the voting and how everything's turning, they consider Georgia light blue already. And the projections show that in 26, we'll lose the House. In 28, we'll lose the Senate. We'll go straight Democrat. And by 30, the whole executive branch will be Democrats. So that's kind of how it's now. Let's go. We got to do it now and get people involved. And so we don't all have to move, because I don't know about you, but when I read the newspaper and it's this is going on in California and this is going on in Michigan or New Jersey, I'm like, who are the morons that still live there? What? Why would you live in Minnesota at this point? I just feel sorry for them. And then I'm like, oh, that's going to be us. People are watching Georgia and watching us turn blue. And I like it here and I don't want to move. So we all need to multiply ourselves so that we can stay in our beautiful, amazing state and have these people actually govern what we want them to do and what we believe. And by the way, the Constitution says, just for fun. Yeah. So thank you so much. I'm so honored, Ron, that you invited me to come tonight and speak. And I just appreciate all of you. Thank you so much.